Alright, welcome back to Nick Lenz's Dark Comic Corner, Classic as Non-Classics. This is episode number 3390 and Doubleshot number 3284. Yes, I do know right now I'm 10 episodes away from episode 3400. Eventually one day, I probably think next year this will happen. I'll probably reach episode 4000 for the series. And can you believe, I think last month basically was like this, where last month was the 12-year anniversary of this review series. Yes, believe it or not, I have been doing this particular review series now for 12 years. Along with doing videos for this channel. Yeah, 12 years! Can you believe it? And the fact I have over 10,000 videos. This is my longest review series to date. The only reason why basically there's as much because sometimes I've done basically at times. I think the one time I did like 5 comic corners in a row on the same day. I have just done so much, and the fact that in the past 12 years I have also, believe it or not, also changed locations. Well, basically where I live. And I've also done it basically as comic corners in New Rochelle, I believe in I think it was Norfolk, Virginia, and also, believe it or not, I've also in Summerville, South Carolina. And I think I've also done it also in Orlando. Yes, I was staying at Airbnb. That's where I did maybe like one comic corner, I think it was. I know basically I should be saying this for episode 3400, but yeah, it's last month was the 12-year anniversary of this thing. Actually, I think it was like 2 months ago, I think it was, sadly. I should have done this 2 months ago, sadly. I had so much stuff to take care of. I was trying to get stuff out that I just not get a chance to do a 12-year anniversary of this show. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is something. I mean, my first video came out in September 2013. Can you believe that? Yeah, since I've done this channel, basically we've had like, I kid you not, we've had the presidency change like 3 times. Yeah, 3 times over the course of this period of time. Yeah, 3 times. But yeah, basically first, like I still do. I do occasionally do like. Because a lot of these comic corners are mostly comprised of, like, I think originally at first it was like individual comic books. Like, I've done some of those. I've done physical trades. Like, I've done a lot of those. Yes, I do mean a lot. I would say, I think like in the last 2 to 3 years, I think it's been, where I've included digital stuff. Like, mostly the book I check out on, like, first it was Apollo, which that proved to be very successful for me. I love using the app. The only reason why I don't use it anymore, it's because I have no choice in the matter. The main reason why I don't use it anymore because my local library stopped paying for the damn thing because it was getting too expensive for them. This app I use to get this particular one is basically from an app called Libby. I've been using this app now for the past year, and I've had no issues with it whatsoever. And plus, also, there is no limit on how much I can check out per month. And of course, also, I've done on this one website I use, while I'm talking about individual series, I've also got a lot of series reviewed in the last, like, couple years. Yeah, I keep notes of how much I reviewed, believe it or not. Yes, I have. Like, wow. And also, plus, when I originally started this review series, this background behind me with the Demon Slayer and the green screen, that was not there. Because when I originally did this review series 12 years ago, I did it in my old bedroom, which was a lot smaller than this. Yeah, a lot smaller. Like, I'd say you could take like a chunk out of the back in my room, and that was my old bedroom. It was very small because I lived in a mobile home for a long time, and now I live in an actual house, not like a mobile home. Yeah, but like this house better. Yeah. And plus also, because the thing is with the old house was that after a certain period of time, my parents had a good idea to replace all the carpet in the house with hardwood flooring. Like, literally every place was carpet. I mean, the only places that still have carpet in my house by the time we finally moved out was actually the 3 closets and my parents' bedroom. Yes, believe it or not, those 3 were the only 3 places ever left that had an actual carpet. In this house, not only my bedroom's got carpet, but my parents' bedroom and one of our guest rooms has got carpet in it. The other one does not. The other one, for some reason, I think it was maybe due to maybe it was a spill or something, and they decided to replace the carpet with hardwood flooring. I have no idea exactly why it was like that when we first moved in. Which, believe it or not, that was 7 years ago we moved in this place. And basically, well, so there's that. Yeah, and also the fact that when I originally started these videos, like, anything I wore, basically, like in the case of this, like, I probably couldn't pay for it because I couldn't afford it because I didn't have a job at that point. Now I do. I did briefly have a job when I first started, like a year after I started doing videos with this channel. I did briefly have a job, but then I lost it due to stuff happening to work, and basically ever since 2018 I've had basically a job, and I have paid for a lot of stuff. Like, example, this shirt. I have also paid for stuff like this. I bought this. Yes. Or my headset. Or... And also, when I also started this channel, I did not have my smartphone at that point. Nope, I did not. Because basically, I was the last person to get one of these things. The only reason I had to get one of these things was because of my current job. That was primarily the reason why. And it served me really well for the past 7 years. And I've got a few different phones. I've had to, like, yeah. But this is my new phone right now. And the only reason I got a new phone because, well, I have problems with charging the last night. Half the time, I'm basically fiddling with the charger. And it just wouldn't charge. But with this new phone, don't have to worry about that. It charges perfectly fine, and plus it holds longer. Yeah. And plus also, like, when I watch YouTube on here, it's changed. Yeah, apps have changed. The looks have changed. I'm not always a fan of the big change per se. At one point, get this. Did you know for YouTube, when they updated it, you actually can change it back if you wanted to? But they've since got rid of that function. I've just gotten used to it. But let's talk about this particular one. Darkwing deck. Yep, that's the first one. Crisis on Infinite Darkwings. This collects issues 5 through 8 of the Darkwing comic published by Boom Studios. Yeah. Writer Ian Barrow and artwork by James Savali. So, in this one, everyone is celebrating the fact that Darkwing Duck is back. And of course, we also have Negaduck. Of course, he's having his little team up with Magica Dispel. I'll mention her again, the whole deal with this character. She is, believe it or not, she actually is not original to Dark. Like, here's the thing about her, that I did a little research on her, like, several years ago. So, some people might think that she's an original character created for DuckTales. Nope, that's completely untrue. She, along with the Beagle Boys, and I think it was, Flocker, I think his name is, the Scottish Duck, who's usually a rival of Scrooge. Yeah, these characters are not original to the show. They actually made their debut in a comic book. You're like, what? A comic book? Yes, believe it or not, Scrooge McDuck had a comic called Uncle Scrooge. It was an old Disney comic that apparently DuckTales was loosely adapting this comic for the show. You're like, what? Disney adapted a comic book for the show? It was a character they licensed. But to answer Ivan's question, was there any character exclusively created for the show itself? Yes. Yes, there was. I think it was Scrooge's butler. I think he was original for the show. And I think his maid and his maid's granddaughter. I think those three are original. But a lot of everybody else is actually from the original comic book. A lot of the recurring characters of the show. And you're probably thinking, Nick, why in the world is Magic and the Spell a character associated with DuckTales appearing in a Darkwing Duck comic? Well, there actually is a reason why. They're in the same universe. Really? Yeah. They are. They established this when they had Launchpad McQuack basically appear in the show because he's a character from DuckTales. And he basically appeared on Darkwing Duck because in story, the reason why he was in the show because Scrooge fired him again. And also, for some weird reason, and I do not know why this was, I think it was technically the same character. For some weird reason, if you notice how he looked in DuckTales and the way he looked on Darkwing Duck, they altered his beak. Here's the thing. I haven't met any of the cast of Darkwing Duck or DuckTales, so I do not know the reason for this. One person who might know is Darkwing Duck's voice actor, Jim Cummings. He might know the answer. I might ask about that whenever I get a chance to meet him. So the story of this one is that there's like alternate universe of Darkwing Duck. So we have a two-headed duck, and of course you have just, well, kind of in the way, basically Darkwing taking over the Bulls company because someone's going to take it over with all the crime bots. Yeah. And basically, for some weird reason, we just have Launchpad, because hey, look how Launchpad looks here. Like, if anybody's ever seen Darkwing Duck, DuckTales, then of course, basically, now we have, well, Darkwing reunited with his girlfriend, seeing his girlfriend, her hair's messed up, and then we have, of course, the criminals who are in jail, because, of course, they had to go back to jail because of criminals. So, basically, Morgana, she's kind of in a way, she's basically Darkwing's girlfriend. And basically, she looks miserable. As to why she looks like this, don't know. Basically, kind of had to spook her back. And then, at one point, he touched her hand and spooks her. And then she transforms Darkwing into a giant hand. Which is funny. Because, you know, it's a cartoon. Yep. And then we see a cave. First we see like first also Darkwing is a two-headed one. Then we see a caveman Darkwing. So, and then after all the bats, and then eventually like they tire and Sinkanar, that's the town. So then we have believe it or not, we actually have a Darkwing who is literally a Hawkeye, basically a Green Arrow ripoff with this outfit. Yeah. So, and then of course to bring her back to her senses, Darkwing cries, and somehow her tears, one of his tears, ends up on her beak. And then she's restored back to normal. And they're back together. By the way, she's a former criminal who basically turned a new leaf. So, by the way, Darkwing has actually met her parents in the show. and her parents approve of this relationship given how much she loves Darkwing, despite the fact he's shorter than she is. I have a theory of the reason why this is. Darkwing, and then he's dating a tall woman. I would not be surprised if the creators of Darkwing Duck are a fan of the New Gods because Mr. Miracle's wife, Big Barda, is tall and hot. And plus, that's something Jack Kirby has said in the interview. I like big women. Tall women. Because his wife is, I've seen footage of this. Jack Kirby's wife, well, now currently the widow, I don't know if she's still alive or not, she's taller than he was. And Public Enemy number 1. So then we have they have all the Darkwings just doing whatever. And Negaduck just going after these people for some reason. And of course we have this is a bit unusual for this show. For this comic. As far as I can tell, in case you're curious though, has Darkwing, who's appearing here as a villain identity as, I don't remember his name, but has in fact she seen him without his mask on? I think once in the entire show. Once. And I think it was like an episode of season 2, I think it was. That's the only time I could think of he's ever seen without his mask on. So, yeah. And have fight more of the villains again. Release Darkwings, of course. They have a bowling ball basically thrown in because we have the War of the Darkwings has begun. Got ready to take. Now this is an obvious, I'm looking at this guy, he looks like an obvious Judge Dredd ripoff. You basically have Darkwing, look at him, like, what's that? So oh crap, it's a freaking duck tank. And then we have all these Darkwings just fighting all over the place. And then we have a reprogrammed crime bot who's basically being a chef. One is making, I kid you not, basically turning a bush into Pinocchio. Because of course basically the artist would do this because it's a Disney character. Well, this version anyways, because technically, if you think about it, Pinocchio is technically a public domain character, but this look is exclusively owned by Disney. And in case you're curious though, when the movie came out, I think the movie came out, I think it was in the 80s. If anybody's ever seen Pinocchio, the Disney animated classic, it is amazing. It's an amazing movie. That also was referenced in Aquaman. And then we have and then for some reason she said Ken Gear instead of saying Bladdering Bladder Spike. Yep. So then we just have a bunch of then we have Launchpad just flying the. I don't remember the name of the vehicle's name. I know it's Darkwing's version of the Batplane. And he's here with the reprogrammed crime bots fighting out against criminals. Oh yeah, and there's also, I kid you not, a golden Darkwing who thinks he's a Silver Surfer. Obviously, it's a Silver Surfer parody, but they can't have him silver because if they have the Zuck be silver, here's the thing. Boom Studios. I'm guessing probably the reason why they can't color him silver and they color him gold instead, because if they cover this character silver, they're going to face legal trouble from Marvel Comics because Marvel owns Silver Surfer. So, and then Darkwing meets and it has the whole spinning chair thing, which I love that. That was actually in every episode. Whenever he transforms, he just hops in a lazy boy, flips over, and then he becomes twisted in his costume. The whole point of that is a reference to the Adam West TV show, except basically, it's like, yeah, and then we have just... And then he proceeds to fight his Green Arrow counterpart. Yeah, and with the whole Trick Arrows thing, it just really cool. Yeah, and now this oh yeah, Magic Spell's behind this, so... And then he rides his own duck cycle, and the crime boss deal with whatever. And then we have an elevator mode where we have Darkwing, he has daughter, and his girlfriend just have this weird moment where his eyes go out weird, and then she just rubs her eyes. It's the elevator, and then it starts going down. And then, poof. And then we have Magic the Spell taking on having Darkwing. Now, this is really cool. Having a villain from the DuckTales cartoon interact with Darkwing Duck. Because I'm sure that the creators of Darkwing probably really wanted to use a character from the show, but they probably had to. But here's the thing. They're all with the same company. I'm sure they can say, have not going to people who create DuckTales. Excuse me, can we borrow Magic the Spell? Like, sure, go ahead. We're not using it right now. And then we have Darkwing versus, like, who left out? And he brings out a freaking chainsaw. And then we have Magic the Spell versus Morgana. Then she gets powered up by zapping Morgan, and just they fight for a while. And then we have this creature thing get punched out by Gizmo Duck, which is funny. It's like, oh. And then we have Paddywhack. Yes. And then we have... So I'm like, okay, I know these references. So, we have a Darkwing who thinks he's the Tom Baker doctor. We have basically Mufasa Duck. We have... Darkwing if he's Optimus Prime. For these three, I'm not sure. It could be the Beatles, possibly. So, if anybody know this reference here, just feel free to list comments below. And then, of course, we have, like, yeah. So then we have more Darkwings fighting each other, and the tank is destroyed by putting a plunger in it. It's like, well, good, Digger. It blows up. Yep, and they continue to fight, and then we see, well, and then we see Darkwing. And we have one as a musketeer, a freaking bowling ball. One thinks he's an astronaut. And then we see, I kid you not, we have many other references here to other versions of Darkwing Duck if he was a different version of him. Like, we have Darkwing if he was Indiana Jones. Chippendale Rescue Rangers. You're like, what? Chippendale Rescue Rangers. They're in our Disney characters. People are thinking, is he Harry Potter? Yes, he's Harry Potter. And we have this, well, this suit. I can't tell who that one is. The one with the, I think the one here in the green suit, he might be Sherlock Holmes. I'm not sure, but I thought that was really cool. I watched a lot of stuff. That's how I know this stuff. And like all Darkwings are offline, and they continue to fight. Then we have the evil Pad Duck, and they fight for. And then of course you have Magica, and then basically then we have Negaduck going giant size and trying to smush everybody. And then we have Magic and Spell and Morgana just fight each other, team each other. And then we have everybody fight Negaduck, because of course we do. And then we have all these other alternate Negaducks pop up here, because we have Darkwing Ducks, so let's have alternate Negaducks who are pretty much the same. And then basically it's like, and then pretty much they all just go home. Everything is returned back normal, and Darkwing just goes back as Lazy Boy. And everything is done. Like, wow. That book was awesome. 10 out of 10. Alright, so next up we have is Jenny Flynn. This is basically a Mike Mignola miniseries. I think it's probably part of the Outerverse that's not Hellboy. It's written by story Mike Mignola and Troy Nixie. There are 4 issues for this book. Troy Nixie does the first 3 issues, and Farrell Dumpy does chapter 4. So this is just basically a story set in, I think it's like the 19th century, I think it is. It's a series of it's basically Jenny Flynn going on an adventure with this sort of supernatural element to it. That's kind of, so, oh, she's in London. Yeah, London. So, basically it's her hunting for a serial killer. That's basically what it is. It's interesting what it is, but not as exciting as Darkwing Duck. Give roughly 8 out of 10. Yep. So yeah, that's take a view. Please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, turn notifications. Next up we have is Hero Without Class. Okay, next view. Bye.